It's that time again where we get to see the degeneracy that's going on in today's world and how woke college students really do not have a clue of what they are talking about. As I usually say, I am not going to talk anymore, so let us get into the video.
Are there more than two genders?
Yeah.
Great. Gender is fluid?
Yeah.
You mentioned a second ago that you have trans friends. Yep. Do you, in terms of the gender argument, do you notice that there are more than two genders?
I mean, I'd agree that gender's probably not binary.
You can be male or female or non-binary, somewhere in between. I think that's your expression is up to you.
Lots of different genders.
Yeah, I would say so. Or, you know, whatever. I don't think it even really has to be defined either, just what you want to be.
If 150 people who were transitioned and were trans from male to female were in prison last year, and 50% of them were ex-sexual predators, what would your opinion be about integration with regards to trans, I'm trying to get my vocab right here, trans males, i.e. new females? What would you feel about them being in?
That question right there is a very, very good question. And I've not watched this video just like you guys watching it with me, but I really want her answer is going to be. If she's consistent with her views, she would say the person who was a male and transitioned to become a woman should be able to go into the woman's prison. But let us see what the answers are going to be, because usually these people come up with stupid answers.
Women's areas, and you can link that to bathrooms as well, toilets. That's the other talking point. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not in prison, so it's different. Like if it was in a bathroom here at uni, I'd be like, whatever, it's fine, I don't care. But it's because it's got that label of, oh, they're a sexual predator, and that, yeah, it probably isn't great, but I feel like personally I don't have the right to say this because I am a cis female. I haven't had to deal with any of those troubles.
What does cis mean? I should know that.
You were born a female, and like that's the gender you were assigned at birth, and you've stayed with that.
As I said, that she would come up with some stupid answer. Apparently, she's able to tell other people one identifies as a woman or a man, they should be able to identify as that. But when it comes down to whether you believe that they should be able to go into certain prisons, now all of a sudden you're a cis female and I can't speak on that. And this is what I mean by these people are not consistent, and they just continue to believe the lies that their schools, social media and their peers keep telling them. They're NPCs.
I think. Okay. I'm pretty sure.
Right, so XX versus XY. As
yeah.
in you are what you are.
Yeah, so I was born a female, I'm a female now. Yeah. So
you identify as a female?
Yeah, I'm a cis female, whereas I'm not like a trans female.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's what it is.
The prison one's a complicated one, isn't it? Do you think there should be trans prisons?
Well, doing psychology we learn about prisons, and there's not enough space, to be fair, to have a trans prison. But yeah, like I was saying, like I don't feel like I have the right to say, no, you shouldn't be doing that, you should be doing this, because I've not had to live with the feeling inside my head like, oh my God, I am not a girl. I don't feel like a girl at all, but I have to wear skirts, I have to do that kind of
thing. And for prisons, the way I think of it is that if a trans woman, if a trans woman was in a male prison, they'd get like beaten up and just destroyed way more than if a trans woman was in a female prison. They're way more in danger in a male prison than they are in a female prison, and there's no, I mean, at least from the data that I've seen, there's no link tying that trans women are anyway more dangerous than other women.
This guy is pulling out these stats out of his bum, talking absolute nonsense. Trans women have went into women's prisons and have done some heinous things. These people are so far gone from reality that they just say absolute nonsense.
So when you say trans women, do you mean people?
Trans women is someone who is assigned male at birth and then transitions to become a woman.
Before we get back into the video, I need everyone to turn on their post notifications so that you get notified whenever one of my videos come out. Like the video as much as possible, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow me on Twitter at YinkaThatGuy. Let us get back into the video.
So in terms of solutions, and in terms of the idea that as long as live and let live, and as long as we're helping people and they're safer and the progressive model of living how you want to live, there's no negative consequences. In terms of, if I was to say that last year there was 120 trans I'm trying to get my vocab right here, trans women. Yeah. So men, biological,
who
transitioned to become a woman, 50% of them were sex offenders. What would you say to that?
I probably wouldn't believe you. But maybe that's also the way I think. That's probably also, I don't know, the way I've been educated and stuff.
As I've said, these people can be told the truth and the truth can slap them in the face. He said he has stats that doesn't happen, and we're seeing the stats on screen as he just posted, and it does happen.
I'd like to see that data. I'd like to see that study. I don't know if I can believe you, but sure. That's a shocking number if it is true.
But even hypothetically, regardless of whether it's true or not, I'm not going to ruin it by saying whether it is or not, because independent thought. But hypothetically, would that change your, because you've been compelling, would that change your line of argument on anything that you've mentioned? If that data were true.
If that data were completely true, I think that would change. I'd have to rethink some of my ideas.
Biological predators who are now women in women's safe spaces, women areas.
I mean, yeah, that probably would change my idea slightly.
If I decide to transition into a female,
Yeah.
if I'm a biological man, if you'll allow me that, and I transition into a female, what's your opinion? If you sound quite pro the idea that this should happen and we should be accepting of it, which prison do I go into if I commit a crime and I'm sentenced? Sorry.
What do you mean? So say.
So if I'm a biological male and I transition into a female,
And you commit a crime.
I commit a crime and I'm a female, fully fledged. What prison do I go into, male or female?
Well, I would say obviously you have the argument. This is similar to the bathroom argument as well.
Use them both as the same, if you will.
Yeah, if someone, if a man transitions to a woman, I would personally say that you should be able to use the woman's bathroom, because that is who you are identifying as. And I think that when you use these arguments, it's almost a bit of a kind of a bit of a straw man.
It is not a straw man at all, and you use straw man incorrectly. The reason you're saying it's a bit of a straw man, even though you use the term incorrectly, is because he's getting you to think of your ideology and showing you the stupidity of your ideology. And as I said a few minutes ago, if you're consistent with your view, it shouldn't really be that hard for you. If you're consistent with your view that trans women are women, there shouldn't be any thought behind it. They should be able to go into women's prisons, even if they're criminals, regardless of the crimes they've committed. Let's not get to these questions and then start switching your stance on things and start saying it's a straw man when it's not. You just don't like the question being asked, and you know the answer to the question, but you don't want to answer the question.
Because you're assuming that that person is inherently bad and wants to do something bad. And obviously I think that paints quite a negative image of
With the bathroom analogy, yeah.
Yeah, and with the prison one as well, because if you're saying, I wouldn't want someone with male sex organs, if you will, in the same place as people with female sex organs, you're presuming something like that they're gonna do something bad. I don't think that's a very good argument, in my opinion. I think that people should just, if you identify as a woman, you should be able to use the women's bathroom. And yeah, I would say
that's hugely useful. So if I was to say, and I'm not going to say whether it's true or not, because lots of different data sources, and we are in media saturated information overload territory in the 21st century. What if I was to tell you that last year 130 people who were fully transitioned, we were talking men to women, in prisons 50% of them were sex offenders? What would you, even if it was hypothetical, I'm not saying that's true, it might be, but even if it was hypothetical, would you change your mind on anything you've said?
Well, if it's hypothetical and we don't know if it's true, then
let's suspend disbelief and say it's true.
But then I don't know. I mean, you could say that with anyone. I mean, you have males that are sex offenders in prison with other men. I don't see how, in my opinion, that's different.
The fact that she didn't answer the question is an answer in itself. She was able to answer the bathroom question, but she never answered the question as to whether they should be in women's prisons. That's all you need to know by their thought process and how they know their ideology is just stupid. All she did was just say, well, it's a stupid argument, even though he didn't make an argument. He asked her a question, and all she did was just obfuscate. That's all she did during this whole thing. She knows the answer, and that's the sad thing of when you see these type of people. They know the truth, but they don't want to tell the truth, because to them, people's feelings are more valuable than the truth. But anyway, that was another video, another reaction. As I usually say, if you guys enjoyed the video, like the video as much as possible, comment down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter at YinkaThatGuy, and I am out.